My band gets it all the time. Almost actually every interview I do is, I heard from some people we came as Romans as a Christian band and some people aren't. We have non-Christian members, we have Christian members. We're not a Christian band. Our lyrics, the way that I try and write lyrics is every song needs to pertain to you personally. It's how you take it. So there might be a song that I take, very spiritually about my relationship with God, to someone else might have nothing to do with that. And that's awesome. Like, honestly, we're just out to relate. We're trying to build relationships with people. What is your perception of Jesus? I don't know. It's a little unconventional. I do tell people that I'm a Christian because, by default, by dictionary definition, I do try to live like Christ. I mean, I fail at it very frequently, just as much as the next guy. And it kind of sucks because I'll be like, I try to be a Christian. And some guy's like, I saw you smoking a cigarette yesterday. You're not a Christian. I'm like, I'm sorry, that just doesn't define like what's in my heart. A lot of people don't understand that the most important part about being a Christian is your personal relationship with God. It's something that, no one else is going to understand because no one else is there. No one else, is in your head. No one else is in your heart. And it's just, it gets rough sometimes. I mean, obviously being on the road all the time, like, no, I don't go to church. Like, I don't ever have time to go to church. But by that, I mean, I don't go to a building that's called a church. I don't go to a service, a sermon. I don't go to like a worship service that's at a church. That doesn't mean that I'm not, sitting down with my brothers, talking about God, having our own church. By, I guess, definition, it even says in the Bible, church isn't a building. It's a group of people, and it's what they're doing. And people are like, well, you're not going to church. You're not a Christian. Yeah, I am. I might not be going to church, but I might have also just had an amazing talk about Christ and God with our bass player Andy the night before. And that's going to mean more to us, and that's going to further our relationship with God, probably further than it is to go to a church service with thousands of people there and hear a pastor speak to tons of people rather than just an in-depth close conversation. We came as Romans. We're not a Christian band. I don't believe that Christian should ever be a genre of music. It's Christian describes what your lyrical content is. A genre of music describes how you sound. Obviously some of our lyrics, they do have, a spiritual meaning to me, but they might not to other people, and that's fine. As long as you can relate, and as long, if it's making your life better, if it's making a positive influence on the world, I would rather have that than me write a song about God that a bunch of people are just never going to care about. How do you personally know that it's 100% true? It's one of those things that you don't really explain to the best of how you feel it. I could stand here for an hour and try and explain how I know that it's true, but at the end of the day, it's just you feel it. I want people to come to our shows and know that they don't have to go through life alone. Maybe at that point in their life, it's really rough, and they're not looking for religion, they're not looking for God, and that's okay. I'm never gonna tell someone you're doing something wrong with your life. That's not my place ever. But I think the only time I could tell someone that they're doing something wrong with their life is if they just think that they have to be alone for it all. You don't gotta do life alone. You really don't. You weren't made to do life alone.